Hey there, it's J Rod here with Zach Scheidt for another round of the Rich Retirement Letter Q&A. And Zach, we got another fantastic question. I feel like we're getting really good questions these days.
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of building this community, and we love having you guys send in the questions. What do we got today?
Today we've got, I'm getting a lot of sales calls about refinancing my home. Does this mean we're in another housing bubble?
Okay. Yeah, and I'm getting those same calls now. Hopefully, I've got my phone on silent so we don't interrupt this call. And yes, there's a lot going on in the housing market. There's a ton of growth in the U.S. residential retail right now. But are we in a bubble? So I would say no. I don't think we're in a bubble. And if we are in a bubble, we're in the very, very early stages, which means that there's a lot of room for profit, a lot of room for growth before we get to a risky, dangerous kind of a situation. There's still a lot of money to be made as this housing industry grows. And one thing that I do want to caution all of us on is often there's a tendency for us to fight the last battle. I think it might be in Sun Tzu's Art of War, or maybe it's another book that I read, but generals have a tendency to want to fight the last battle. So we look at one of the last big crises that we had was the financial crisis, which was built on mortgage issues and so forth. That was a big deal back then, but it's not the same as what we're seeing right now. Refinancing, because we have such low rates right now, makes a lot of sense for people who own houses right now. So refinancing your loan just simply means that you're able to pay a lower interest rate, typically lower mortgage payment that you make every month. And in some cases, because housing prices are higher, you may be able to pull cash out, borrow more money at a very low interest rate, and then use that money to make improvements on your house, use that money to invest. There are different ways that you can do that. You need to be careful with that because obviously the more debt you take on, the more risk you have. But this is a sign, the refinancing boom, the increase in prices in homes, the low mortgage rate, this is a sign that residential retail is very, very healthy right now. There's a few reasons why we're seeing such big growth in this area. One is the millennial generation is in its peak home buying season right now, season of life. And the millennial generation is the largest generation that we've seen. So we're seeing a lot of demand for new homes, and that's helping to drive home prices higher. We're also in a time where low interest rates are prevailing, and that's going to continue for years and years to come. The Fed has already promised this. We're not expecting to see interest rates move higher anytime soon. Low interest rates means that you have low mortgage payments, and that's what really is important when it comes to choosing whether to buy a house or not. People are looking at, can I afford the monthly mortgage payment, and not, can I afford the sticker price on this particular house? Mm-hmm. And so with low mortgage rates, it just lets houses trade for a higher price. And then finally, because of the coronavirus crisis, we're seeing a lot of people move out of densely populated condominiums and apartment buildings and into the suburbs where they're buying individual houses. So again, that just drives up more demand. This is a big demand picture. Lots of people actually buying to live in their homes. And it's a picture where there's less supply. So there aren't enough homes to really meet all of the demand right now. Builders are building them, but we're not at a place where builders are building too many homes because there's still plenty of demand. And that's a big difference between what we saw in the financial crisis and what we have right now. Another big difference is the fact that banks are much more regulated now than they were back then. They aren't issuing these loans to people with no income, no jobs, no assets. You remember the Ninja loans?
Oh, yeah.
No income, no job, no assets. People were still getting loans for mortgages and for buying houses back in the day. That's not what's happening right now. So there's a very big difference between the bubble that we saw before and the growth that we're seeing right now. And that's why I'm a big fan of stocks that are benefiting from this growth in residential retail. So Home Depot, Lowe's, that's a good one because, contractors and new homeowners shop there. Materials companies, home building stocks, the companies that actually buy land and build the homes, they're all great places to invest right now. And I think we've got a lot of growth ahead. That's my story. Any comments on that?
No, I mean, I think you're on the money. When we say bubble, I mean, bubble is we've heard the word bubble tossed around in stocks in the housing market. And a range of different asset classes because interest rates here in the US are so low. They're so low in Europe and in other places. But again, this is the housing market, like you said, is backed by a ton of demand. It's not in it's spread out. And again, I'm at the very top of the age range of the millennials, and I just
Okay.
bought a house, in 4 years ago or so.
Yep.
So I know, and it was tough for us to find the house we wanted, to raise our family. And you know, as long as folks like me and my say generation are out there driving that, it's not an issue. Totally different market in 2020 than we were in 2008.
Yep. So let's keep we'll keep following those opportunities related to this market with the Rich Retirement Letter. So make sure that you stay tuned and watch for those. And again, thanks for the question. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.